On this week's Audiobook Club, both Matt and I have bought extremely diverse books. Matt, what have you got this week?
I've got a book written by a mad woman for mad women. It's called Mad Woman.
Me, Bryony Gordon, self-confessed alcoholic, professional cuff-up, dunder-headed depressive, recently described in a magazine as a poster girl for mental illness.
I have brought something that has been long since dormant. It's Green Wing Resuscitated.
This program contains very strong language from the outset, starting in 3, 2, 1.
If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled penises, where's the peck of pickled penises Peter Piper picked?
Hello, faithful audiobook listeners. This is Audiobook Club with Matt Layton over there. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Steve.
And me, Steve Phillips. And we are back with another review. And because we've been away for a little while, we thought we'd do 2 books in one show. And we have brought extremely different books. So there's no comparison between either of them, is there, Matt?
Well, I think there could be a certain sort of off-kilter. Oh, I like to refer to myself, like on the spectrum, that I am neither the mean or the median, and neither are the authors or the subjects of our current book. We are very neurodiverse here at Audiobook Club, if nothing else.
We certainly are. In fact, so neurodiverse that actually, what's the third thing in mean and median? Mode. That was it. Mode.
Oh,
yeah.
But you know what I mean? We're neither you nor I, Bryony Gordon, or the people who wrote Green Ring are kind of normal. I mean, we're great to know, but you wouldn't want to share a flat with us. The washing up would never get done.
We don't know either authors that personally, so any offence that you probably has been caused, a huge apology on behalf of Audiobook Club already 2 minutes in.
I think Bryony Gordon is a little bit, the authoress of my book is a little bit more bare-knuckle than that, and she would happily admit that she is not the easiest person to live with. Indeed, it's stated in the book.
OCD is a convincing liar, telling you the most awful things about yourself until it becomes almost impossible to believe anything else is true. It's like living with Donald Trump 24/7 with no ability to get away from him. In other words, hell. And yet so often it's used as a jokey term that is code for being tidy. And I am not tidy. I wish you had the good type of OCD, my husband often jokes now, at which point I have to lecture him on how there is no good type of obsessive-compulsive disorder, the key word being disorder. But the point is, I'm messy, so messy that my brain has often felt like it's going to explode, leaving even more mess on the kitchen counter.
Shall I go first?
Yes, go first, please.
All right, usual order, we're going to do, on my one anyway, we're going to do the authors. I think the cast might be important on yours.
Yeah.
The author, the material, and then the audiobook production and how it works. Bryony Gordon, born the 5th of July 1980, is an English journalist, author, broadcaster, and podcaster. Aren't we all? She is the author of novels Mad Girl, You Got This, and The Wrong Knickers, which are all nominated for British Book Awards. And she founded Mental Health Base in 2016, and hosts the Mad World podcast. So basically, she's made her fortune from writing about her mental illness, and it's paid out rather well for her. And this is her latest book, which came out earlier this year, which is Mad Woman. Mad Girl was quite famous. It was her coming to terms with mental illness earlier in her life, but now, like me, she is premenopausal. Late 40s, and facing a whole different set of challenges. So this book is warts and all, as you can hear from the clips we've played already. Steve, how did you do with this book? I think it's the first thing to say, to ask. I have opinions on it, but I want to find out, as I forced you to read it, how did you go with it?
It really resonated with me, actually, because there was... No, hear me out. Hear me out. I will have my say, as they said in that sketch, Not on Live News from years ago. It was an old question time thing. It's very, very niche.
Steve.
I can't. Actually, the reason why I've chosen Green Wing Resuscitated is because I can't let go of my youth, to be honest. But I found that elements of what she said, obviously she is going through an extreme time with what she was going through, but there were elements in there I just saw, oh yeah, I do a bit of that, I do a bit of this, yeah, I think like that sometimes, yeah, but also not to the extreme. So actually it was kind of a little bit comforting, but I think you have to be in the right mood to listen to. I've noticed that I am very much trying to, can I have something that gives me a laugh, because the world's really horrible and stuff. I don't really want to look too inward, but actually when you start listening, you really things start to resonate, and it feels like it's a bit of a comfort blanket. If for anyone who's going through similar things, it's actually, you're not the only one. So that's what I thought.
And how far did you get with it, Steve?
I got through the first 7 minutes. It was a bit of a low. I was on a bit of a low that day, and I just didn't want it. Nothing to do with Bryony Gordon herself at all. I think the first 7 minutes were brilliantly written and very. Actually, it wasn't the first. I did the first hour. I did the first hour of it, and but my mood changed. I'll be honest with you. I was just, I think, a bit of a nightmare day. I was just feeling a little bit like, I just need some cheap laughs, basically. So I put on one of our podcasts, and I just, so I kind of sort of lost the thread. Didn't really have the inclination to return to it, but I will do. I think I have to be in the right frame of mind to do that, which is a pretty rum do when you're reviewing audiobooks, it's your profession, isn't it? So you should review it come hell or high water, shouldn't you?
Steve, you are the loveliest human being I've ever met. And that's why we do this together, because I'm not. As somebody who's had mental health problems myself, and as somebody who to a degree has made a living out of it to a certain extent as well. When I was working for for Vision Australia, which is the blindness charity in Australia, one of the key topics when presenting the program that I presented over there was, is poor eyesight, which I have, can it be linked to mental health? Does it make you more likely to have a mental illness? And did that job for 4 years, never got a straight answer. And the answer is, possibly. If not directly, then because of the other stuff you have to go through. It's no secret. I've made it clear that I've actually spent time in a hospital because my brain went wrong.
Hang on a second. You told the listeners this, but we've never talked about it. So, you know how we always say, save it for the take. Don't come out with a gem or anything, save it for the take. This has got to be the real humdinger of it, because we've never talked about... Should we talk about it off air? No, no, carry on. Let's do it.
It's important. Okay, so after a bit of unemployment and some trouble sleeping, in about 2009, I was diagnosed with late-onset rapid cycling bipolar disorder. I was 35 at the time, and basically the mania was great. Food has never tasted so good. The music was amazing, but when I found myself on a train back from Scotland, insisting that other people put my headphones on because the music was so great, I realised it was time to turn myself in. And as fun as that all sounds, and I have a very nice £800 jacket, which I couldn't actually afford at the time. I call it my mania jacket. I still wear it 15 years later. It's a quality jacket. The thing with mania is everything is brilliant. The other side of it is that means you have no fear of consequence. And you can do anything. I reinvented the concept of business. I met someone who reinvented the concept of music. And also, it's the exciting bit to talk about, but you get 2 weeks of that, and then you get 6 months of difficult getting out of bed depression. And I found myself in the Priory, not on the drug or alcohol table. We used to call the people who were in for booze the bottle tops. And you could always tell their table because they had a bottle of Tabasco sauce. Wow. Because they messed up their taste buds and couldn't taste anything anymore. Can I just say, if ever you want to set up an institute for the mentally frail, Steve, please don't put it in the flight path, and please don't have long winding Victorian corridors with busts of scary-looking men at the end of them. Because personally, I got lost on my way back from the dinner room when and I was only in the hallway past the corridor, and I just got lost. I had to get someone to help me because I was on mind-trimming drugs. Have you never heard any of this?
No, I know. Well, now you've mentioned the timeline. It's before. I think it's before we met. It must have been before we met.
No, it's 2009. We met in 1999, Steve. So it was a year after I got married.
Yeah, but you were 35, weren't you? Sorry, listener, for syncing up our diaries here.
But it goes to show. And since then, I've had some time on some really crippling medication, and I've gradually managed to wean that down. I have a wonderful psychotherapist called Anthony and a wonderful consultant psychiatrist who monitors my daily medication and my treatment with Anthony. Dr. Bill Shanahan, he's head of medicine at the Priory these days. Serious stuff. The reason we've had a gap between this episode and the last episode is because I've been having a bit of a difficult time. Yeah. So in a way, Bryony Gordon's book has allowed me to speak as freely as that. And I'll talk to you more about it over a pint at some point, Steve, and I'm happy to answer anybody's questions using the hashtag audiobook club. But the interesting thing, so going back to when I worked in the organisation for blind people, you have a preconceived idea of what a blind person is like in your mind. Similarly, somebody who's mentally ill, you probably have another, one flew over the cuckoo's nest type stereotype. But as somebody pointed out to me when I started working with blind and low vision people, if you take a class for 20 kids who have a vision impairment, their personalities are going to be as varied as a class full of open inverted commas, normal close inverted commas kids. And the same applies for mental health. It's a very individual problem. And I get what you mean. And when I went through this book, I realized that there was something really important going on and why it would help some people that Bryony Gordon has been so open and shared all of her symptoms. But perhaps this wasn't the one for you. As you said in your 7 minutes / 1 hour, I believe 7 minutes.
It was nearer the hour. It was nearer the hour.
No, the chords were chimed. But at the same time, perhaps I'm going to be very careful. Well, in fact, I said it before, Steve, about another cyclone. Perhaps this one wasn't for you or for me. But I bet I could entertain you for an hour with the stories that have happened to me. It's as simple as men's experiences are different to women's. It is also a thing. For me, there weren't enough voices in it. So what I'm used to doing, or did at the time when it was critical, was group therapy. So you'd get 5 or 10 minutes of somebody's story rather than 16 hours of it, or however long this book is. So you'd also hear lots of other people's problems and pick up a bit. There's also got to be redemption at the end, which there was to a certain extent in this book. But yeah, I admire Bryony Gordon for what she's done. I don't necessarily, I've spoken about it here. I'm quite open about it if anybody asks, and sometimes I tell people about it. But I wouldn't have the nads to go jogging in my underwear to raise money for such a cause as she did. I'm not that mad, frankly. But yeah, no, I think it's an important book. I know there will be people whose life will be positively affected and who may even say, oh, I'm going to do that, and perhaps even seek help or return to seeking help from it. And that's blooming important. But it just wasn't my one.
Yeah. How interesting, though, that Bryony Gordon has actually sparked this whole conversation. And the fact that you say you wouldn't go and do a charity run in your pants about this cause, about the cause of mental health and no mental health.
I wouldn't do a run in my pants anyway, not with my knees. You're to my age.
Well, I submit I'm with you there. What with the having to wear a nappy now, but you're
not
still
on your head. No, I told you, not on your head, Steve.
Again,
particularly the used ones.
they're my favourite. Now, but you've just started talking about it, and you looked comfortable. Obviously, I can see you down the line, but you look comfortable. You sound comfortable talking about it. Do you feel comfortable talking about it?
Yeah, I'm comfortable talking about it, but in a way, the great thing, they say that radio is, or podcasting now, a great medium for shy people who want to talk to lots of people. As far as I'm concerned, I'm genuinely sitting here having a conversation with you, Steve. When you finally accept the fact that you're mentally ill, is then have to get over the shame of being mentally ill. And being mentally ill, you're not the best placed person to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I sound better after 15 years of work and some difficult decisions. I've had a couple of incidents of grief this year that have hit me really hard and made me sad. Some people argue that depression is a chemical imbalance in the mind, isn't it? An illness. Sadness is when bad things happen to you. And the answer is, for me, the line isn't that clear cut. And I lost my dad at the end of last year. We were very close. I didn't get to spend as much time with him as I wanted. And yeah, I've been struggling. And I went into my cocoon of grief. I drew the curtains and spent quite a lot of time in bed, occasionally getting up Well, they'll put it this way. I'm tired of my cocoon of grief. It's full of empty vodka bottles and fag ends. And I've now thrown the curtains open and opened the line to you. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. Again, as part of the thing of helping to draw away the stigma, but I don't necessarily think that anybody thought I was sane or normal in the first place. So, but it can be hard. And if anybody does want to have a direct conversation with me about it, then please do invite me to DM you or DM me or however it works. And I'm more than happy to have a chat and talk about what I've been through and listen to what you've been through, that kind of thing.
I think it'll resonate with a lot of people. And actually, when you talking about the timeline there, we had met, because I was thinking about your 30th birthday. It was your 30th birthday I was at, not your 40th. It was your 30th. So yes, it did happen then, man. But this is the thing.
Okay. Hold on a sec, Steve. Hold on. Can I just point out that my 30th birthday, which you were at, was in an Indian restaurant in Farringdon, and we had a covers band featuring the then editor of the Today program playing lead guitar, and I asked them to play Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. Now, some might say the signs were there. It was 5 years before my diagnosis.
What do they give me? Thought for the day. Thought for the day. You know what I mean? How can you rock out to that? Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So, yeah, no, the signs were there, Steve.
But the thing is that you are the first person to ask how someone else is before you talk about yourself. You never really talk about yourself. And actually, that this is where, man, I'm sorry. I didn't reach out or anything. I didn't know necessarily what was going on. But, yeah, I should have reached out, dude. So
Not at all, Steve. And again, part of the thing when I do get down, as you have experienced in the past couple of weeks, is that I withdraw. I don't want to bother anybody else with, frankly, myself that I'm not particularly impressed with at those times. I have people who live around the corner from me who we've mentioned here before. I haven't seen them for 3 weeks. I've been hiding. So that's the nature of the beast. I'm gonna give myself a free pass because of Dad's passing and other things that you know about in my personal life that have perhaps fuzzed to the line between sadness and depression. But yeah, again, I wouldn't want to bother you with it, mate. I'll I pop up when I've recovered, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Well, it's of course, whatever you want to do. But, hey, I'm here. I'm only down the other end. I'm your podcast co-host, dude. You know what I mean?
But again, this is... Apparently what men need is purpose and control. I don't have much control, but genuinely working with you gives me purpose. It's great. So no.
Oh, likewise, genuinely. And actually, I know what you mean. I don't like to reach out at all. I'm the same, which is probably why we're having this kind of therapy session with our listener.
You can invoice me. You can invoice me at the end of this, Steve. It's fine.
Thanks very much. I've heard you cheat.
I've actually, Anthony, my lovely psychotherapist. I've been, seeing him every 2 weeks, in particular for the last 18 months, because I've been going through some stuff. And basically, I've got him on a performance-related pay scheme. If he doesn't make me cry during the session, then he doesn't get paid. He obviously hasn't worked me hard enough.
Well, that's the modern way it works, isn't it?
I'm not joking.
It's always good to have a laugh with your therapist, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. What did you bring?
Well, this is what, I really, really genuinely wish we had sponsorship and ads right now, because we desperately need an ad break. We can't go straight into the hilarious Green Wing. We'll be back after that with Green Wing. Don't go away. Can't even do that.
Home, Dr. Caroline Todd. Just rolling out the metaphorical red carpet. Gosh, it's a bit dusty. Haven't used it since, well, ever, really.
Well, thanks. It feels very odd to be back. Everything's very familiar and yet strangely different. But I'm ready for...
Sorry, can't stop and chat. I was actually just on my way to a finance meeting. Spotted you and... Anyway, good luck. Toodaloo.
Thanks.
Well, we move on. We move on to our second book, and our second book is actually a drama. This is the one I chose, and this, and actually, in the most tenuous way, it's kind of related to what we've just been talking about, because I chose this because I'm a real nostalgist. There is a condition. There's something. I forgot what it is. I think losing memory is kind of part of it. But basically, you sort of hanker after the past. You're very into nostalgia, very into old telly, talking about CFAX, talking about the test cards, talking about whatever, talking about TFI Friday and all that sort of stuff from the 90s and what have you. But Green Wing was a sitcom on Channel 4. There were just 2 series of this thing, but it just feels like it was around forever. But it had such an impact. It was completely new in the way, the delivery of this sitcom. It turned the genre upside down, really. It was kind of very mind-bending, lots of fast footage, slowed down footage, people doing sort of extreme things to each other. But it's set in a hospital. For those who've never heard of Green Wing, and you'd be forgiven, because it's one of those sort of things that was, you were cool if you knew about it, if you know what I mean. But essentially, it's just set in a regular NHS hospital. Doctors, nurses, admin people. But the cast list is absolutely amazing. And at the time this was on, so we're talking, I think, late 90s, I think. But you've got Olivia Colman, Pippa Haywood, Mark Heap, Michelle Gomez, Tamsin Greig, Stephen Mangan, Julian Rhind-Tutt, Oliver Chris, Karl Theobald as well, and massive names that have gone on to do all sorts. I mean, you've got an Oscar winner in Olivia Colman. Mark Heap has just been on everything brilliant. Space, Big Train, got Jim in Friday Night Dinner, Tamsin Greig in Friday Night Dinner, Michelle Gomez in Doctor Who, Stephen Mangan has been in loads of stuff. He was in Adrian Mole, I think, before he was in this. Anyway,
can I stop you there?
Go on.
Can I stop you there and go? Tamsin Greig and Stephen Mangan, they've been dining out on this 2 series for the last 2 decades. They've done some other things. They've done other things, but frankly, they're the worst of a certain type that drives me up the wall. And I have to say, Steve, that if my bus had been on time, I wouldn't have made it much past the 7 minutes that you got into my recommendation.
I was an hour with your recommendation.
Yeah, right. You keep saying, right. Yeah. So if you don't know the series, and you tried to explain, which I don't, and you tried to explain to me the speeded up film, the innovative comedy, the use of profane images and vile acts, and if you come to this 20 years later, audio only, expected to know what the jokes are, I felt like I had a stroke. Here's a clip.
My name is Papa Alan.
I've got an elephant's cock.
With a mouse's balls. La 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 bye.
Yes! This is the best day ever! Yes!
My hair doesn't have areas of concern.
How long, Sesh? 5 minutes for Dr. Secretion.
And that left me, Steve, feeling the same way I did when I went to Hungary. I did languages for at school and for my degree. I can speak a bit of German, a bit of French, and a bit of Russian. If I go to a city with trams in it, generally I can understand a couple of the words because one of those three languages will. Hungary, the alphabet was the same, but none of the words made sense. And it was like I was walking into one of Darren Brown's phone boxes. It's sort of a slump. So for me, for this reason alone, because it just made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever at all. I'm afraid I didn't get very far with your recommendation. As I say, I got further than I would have done if my bus had been on time. But my bus wasn't in time. I mean, I'll never have those minutes back, but I don't particularly mind. I was just befuddled and bemused, Steve.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think, it's fair enough. I think it's an acquired taste. I think if you're not into this, you won't be into it. I think it was. I just love innovative comedy. I love people doing something completely different, and it's not laugh out loud funny, but there are some really just brilliant moments. Mark Heap in particular, as Statham is so funny. He's physically very funny with what he does, but of course, how does that? Yeah, Statham. Yeah, he plays. Yes,
Statham.
Yes, indeed.
That feeling. Yeah, I think you know this when you're having a little bit of man time. And at our age, there are a few pleasures left, Steve. But one of the pleasures is when a new Jason Statham film pops up on the Netflix or Amazon Prime. But it's that first 2 minutes and 30 seconds where you're going,
well done.
Yeah. Please don't do the accent. Please don't do the accent. And then the first time he opens his mouth, decides what is going to happen to the next hour and a half of your life. If he's just fight them, then everything's absolutely fine. But if he's doing the American accent, it's time to slam the lid of your laptop down and run like fury. Right, so what you're saying to me is you like innovative comedy from 20 years ago.
I do.
You
so
like old innovations.
Yeah, I love old. Yeah, there used to be a catalogue, wasn't there, called Unnovations, which was useless rubbish you could just order off the net. What was really fascinating for me was how they would translate the visual innovation from the Channel 4 show to Audible, because they brought this back. They brought the whole thing back. I don't know, what is it, 20, 25 years after it went off air. So they came back with Green Ring Resuscitated. Nearly all of the original cast is back, including Olivia, Colman, and Mark Heap, and Michelle Gomez, and Tamsin, Stephen Mangan, Julian, Rhind-Tutt, and so on. And what they've done is they've just used sound to recreate those kind of visual images of the speeded up footage and the little slowed down footage, and it sort of ends like it's almost like a series of sketches in a sitcom. And you have a scene between two people, and then the sound will just like repeat the last two words like they said, like really speeded up, like Alvin Chipmunk and stuff like that, to sort of ambient sort of music. It's a little bit of, it feels a little bit like Jam. Do you remember Blue Jam, Chris Morris on Radio 1?
Oh yeah, I tell you how well I remember Blue Jam, Radio 1, Chris Morris, is I was actually the person who sat in the basement on their own pressing play on the DAT tape. I was the only person in the United Kingdom who was forced to listen to Blue Jam live on my own in a creaky old BBC building. And while it was genius, I remember one thing in particular where one of the scenes was somebody doing surgery, and you could hear the rummaging, and I couldn't turn it off because if I turned it off, I would have got sacked. I got sacked anyway for being technically incompetent a little later on. But no, I am the only person in the United Kingdom who was forced to not leave the set of speakers where the horrible inside of Chris Morris's genius mind was spewing out across the nation. Yes, I do remember Blue Jam, Steve.
What was your job then to be doing that?
I was a broadcast assistant at Radio 1.
Yeah. Well,
97, 98, something like that.
Not 97 to 99.
I almost wish it were, but yeah.
Oh, because you could have used the logo and everything. Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting. This episode has been full of little. Well, this has gone in directions we never knew it would go in this week, isn't it?
It has. Well, yeah, and I've had a great life, Steve.
Well, you're coming back. You're coming back next week. Next month. We need to talk. We might need a pint together. So that's Green Wing Resuscitated. It's on Audible. If you're already a subscriber, it's completely free. You don't need any more credits or anything like that. But there are 6 episodes. And I think they're brilliant. And so indeed do the reviewers. For example, just reading out a couple here. So great to have the old cast back. Laugh out loud, funny 5 stars review, says Emily. E. Turton says, thank you for the series reboot I never knew I needed. It was a successful resuscitation and the writing was fantastic. Truly great to hear the original characters. I would pay good money to hear the outtakes. I think we all echo, apart from Matt. Actually, it was 50% of us would echo those sentiments.
Well, I, of course, brought Mad Women by Bryony Gordon to the table. Again, available on Audible and other platforms. I have to say, it is interesting. It's an important book, and it will help a lot of people. I'm intrigued by that kind of work, but it didn't necessarily hit home directly or massively change either mine or Steve's life. But having gone to the Blue Jam thing and being forced to listen to stuff, isn't it refreshing, Steve, to know that we don't even listen to each other's recommendations?
No, that's how freedom of speech, that's what it is. We're libertarians, aren't we? You know, we can do whatever we want. Bring anarchy.
Move to New Hampshire. Let's move to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Drive hard or die.
The caucus or whatever they call it over there. Yes, absolutely. Sounds good. Right, well, we are going to come back. We're not going to tell you what we're going to review next time like we usually do because, frankly, we haven't got the list out to review. But we've got a list of books that you've recommended and that we've got that we've liked the look of as well. So we will see you next time. In the meantime, discuss anything you'd like to do with the 2 books we've reviewed here. So that's Mad Woman by Bryony Gordon and Green Wing Resuscitated, #Audiobook Club. And guess we'll see you next time, eh, Matt?
Yeah, Audiobook Club, the podcast about audiobooks that doesn't even listen to its own recommendations.
And with that, goodbye.